What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Brandon's Face, the podcast about a playlist. My name is Jonathan Beardsley, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only Brandon May. Brandon, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm so good, John. How are you?
I am feeling great, man. Feeling thick with a Q-U-E, if you know what I'm talking about.
You're about to drop it like a thotty, aren't you?
I am going to drop it like a thotty. You know me so well, man. You always get me. Please, if you've never checked us out, like, follow, subscribe, that whole 9 yards. Before we get into this week's playlist, though, we had a question on last week's episode that I left you with, and that was, what is the best deluxe edition track of all time? Do you remember this question, Brandon?
Of course, it's the first entry on my notes.
All right.
I went through a number of deluxe albums, but it's Bezos 4 from the Inside Deluxe. Like, it's got to be my favorite of all the deluxe albums.
I love that answer. I love that answer. I love that no matter how hard I study and research, you can always just come back with Bezos 4 and end it like that.
I hope we get up to, like, in a few years we get Bezos 12 and it's like Bezos is long dead. Or he's like in space. Nobody cares. But
I definitely hope Bezos is long dead by then, but we will see. I have two answers for this. So I looked into it a bit, and I have two answers because my first is a weird technicality. So my first is Truth Hurts by Lizzo, which went on to become one of the biggest songs of 2019.
Correct.
And is only on the deluxe edition. However, it was released as a single in 2017. So the fact that it's not technically a deluxe edition bonus track only, I guess, disqualifies it. But if we're going with that criteria, I'm going to pick Sex With Me by Rihanna from Anti-Deluxe. That is maybe not the best, but my favorite of all of the deluxe edition tracks.
Best is subjective, my man.
It is. I can only pick my favorite, and that one definitely does it. This was fun to research, though. I thought there would be a lot more candidates than they were, though.
There aren't a lot.
There really aren't, especially if you're looking this decade and onward.
Right. Like, it's slim pickings out there for deluxe album cuts.
Well, this was fun. I hope another homework question presents itself over the course of this episode. But with that out of the way, are you ready to get into this, man?
Let's do it.
All right. First up, we got a new one from Cerrone and Purple Disco Machine called Summer Lovin'. This one's an undeniable jam. I think you and I can agree on that much, right?
Summer house banger.
Yes. I really hope we get a vocal mix of this one as well. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. Any further thoughts on it?
No, my notes are just summer house banger.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple one.
It does it, man.
It does it. All right, moving on. We got a new one from Bob Sinclair, an A-track, The Deep Inside of Me extended mix. Not a lot to say about this one. It's just a fun track. What did you think about it?
Great house track, but it's neither of their bests.
I agree.
I think it'll do great on dance floors, kind of like as a transition track. I think listening to DJ mixes for as long as I have been, you realize that there are some tracks that need to play for a minute before you can kind of do the rest of your set. And I think that this is a great one for like a 28-minute mark of a set where you're like, okay, let me slow down, but also not bring down any of the energy.
I love how specific that is, but also how correct that is, Brandon.
That's the major vibe I got from this one. So
yeah, no, you can't go all rise all the time. There has to be the lulls. There has to be the moments that you know to work these types of tracks in. I think 24 to 28. That's a good one. I'd love to hear your mix, Brandon.
I have one on SoundCloud.
You do? I think I remember when you uploaded it, actually.
Man. It's okay. I listened to it recently. It's okay.
Brandon and I's back-to-back sets coming soon. Keep an eye out for that. All right, man. Speaking of live, speaking of sets, speaking of crowds, speaking of all of this, this next song, we have Fred Again and Swedish House Mafia featuring Future. The track is called Turn the Lights On Again. Honestly, okay track, not really a lot to break down. The drop's good. The future part is minimalistic and repetitive, but what is EDM? The bigger conversation is obviously around his Boiler Room set that just happened. And I have been dying to talk to you about this Boiler Room set all week. And I want to start the discussion off by asking you, does he have the greatest collection of unreleased music right now?
I think he's up there, man. I think when there's a lot of hype surrounding him and his Coachella set, I was kind of like on the fence. I'm automatically turned off by any sort of large amount of hype. But turns out this guy's got it, man, and I'm no longer on the fence about Fred again,
No.
dude. I'm just fully on one side of the fence, which is can't deny he's got some talent and some skill and some bangers.
Yeah, I finally hit the follow button.
Right, exactly. Like
I was like, all right, yeah, throw that in the show notes. Obviously, anybody that hasn't seen it, it's a Boiler Room set in London, which is a very, very small club, and the energy that he brought and just the sheer amount of unreleased IDs that he dropped that not only got people moving, but elicited an audible reaction was higher than I've seen in a long time. Like there's just certain sets that are special. And I think that if Porter's EDC set showed us where EDC came, or where EDM kind of came from, this is where showing us where it's going. And it's going in a good direction. However, a fuckload of people are going to start to copy this after this set.
Yeah.
So many people are going to attempt this sound now.
So I have two things to say on that.
Please.
Number one, the synth melody on this song was Swedish House Mafia, which is kind of just a rework of one of Future's songs, which is
it reminded me of Russia Privé by Bass Hunter, actually.
That's the song. Melody.
Yeah.
That's the song. I was trying to figure out what it fucking reminded me of. It was so familiar. My wife and I were just sitting there like, this is already a song. Thank you.
Yeah. It's Russia by Bass Hunter.
Wow, Bass Hunter. All right. I think that not only is this set going to be kind of where electronic music is going to go to in the next few years, but I think that it's going to introduce a lot of young people to boiler rooms, which have been going on forever. Yes. I mean, I just watched Fatboy Slim's Boiler Room. Even today I was listening to Boys Noise did one in Berlin fucking 9 years ago. I forget, like a long time ago. I think it was when Out of the Black came out. Yeah. And yeah, man, everybody should go and listen to some Boiler Room sets because they are kind of the iconic DJ set, where you want to promote something or you want to go get in touch with the people and see how they actually react to the music. And it's not that the people are there to watch you, the people are there to be with you. And I think that that's an important distinction when it comes to something like this. And I think Fred again did it great, especially with the dude that hit that pause button twice.
Yes. Can we just ban all people in yellow Tommy Hilfiger shirts from attending EDM clubs? Because that dude, he handled that infinitely better than I would.
For sure. Well, the first time it happened, he was like, all right, well, I got to get back into the groove. And then by the third time it happened, he was like, fuck it, I'm going to press play. We're all going to bounce, He's
like, and you were slowly going to disappear behind me.
I'm going to give you a hug, maybe a kiss on the forehead, and you get out of here.
Yeah, you go have fun. Just stay the fuck away from the decks, man. Please. Oh my God, he drove me crazy. But yeah, back to this song. I think that this song's good. However, hearing all of the songs that he has, especially the EP worth of tracks with Skrillex, I don't think this is the song people were hoping he would drop.
No, man, he dropped a bunch of IDs, and that's really kind of all you want from an up-and-coming producer like this, to drop a bunch of shit that oh shit, this sounds like Skrillex and Fred again? That's exactly kind of what you want to hear.
And Fortet?
Right.
What the fuck, dude? That track broke me. I've watched that video specifically of that drop I don't know, 10, 20
It's
times.
a good one, bro.
The spin back gets me every time on the
Right.
first drop. That's so good, dude. Like you just those moments are so magical when you know you have the crowd. That's the best, man. It's the fucking best.
You know, talent. Speaking on Fred against talent, I was apprehensive, but he didn't touch the decks for like 15 minutes. It was
No, the
just
live drums.
it was just him doing his MIDI and clicking that loop
Mm-hmm.
button a number of times. And I think it's a machine he uses, but yeah, man, I was like, okay, he's got it. Like he's clearly not making it up. Like I'm watching him do it. So
Yup. It offshoot question, but it's kind of related. The My Name is Skrillex tag drops pretty early in his set, and
yep.
everyone loses their shit. I did not think one that when his first EP came out and the first track, My Name is Skrillex, has that tag that pretty much turns into a song. I did not think that would be his like entire career tag. But what's even weirder is that EP is not on fucking streaming at all.
It isn't
No, Weekends is, and that's the only song
interesting.
from it that is. I don't. It's kind of weird that it's become such an iconic track that really isn't available to the mass public. Not sure why that is. Everything starting with Scary Monsters on is, but My Name is Skrillex EP is not.
Well, that's funny because that's how I first heard of Skrillex. We even tried to get into a club before we were 21 to go see Skrillex, and I even offered the security guard.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah, that's right. You went in, I think, because you were a little older
However,
than me. I was like, bro, I'll give you a
dude,
quarter ounce right now. Let me get in. And he was like, no. Like,
so you know how big of a From First to Last fan I was. So
of
I was
course.
on this immediately. So before that had even happened, Scary Monsters was out by the time he played Space 120. Was that the club in Palm Springs?
Yeah, it doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
But
no.
yes.
It was called Space 120. He played there. I think Craze played like a week or two later. It was a weird
Yep.
summer in the desert. But um I saw him months before that in an alley like warehouse rave in LA. He posted on MySpace like a bulletin that he was playing some just like nondescript Saturday night. It wasn't at an official club, so I think it was 18 and over. And it was one of those like we're all standing kind of on a weird street to go into an alley that will eventually lead into like this weird auditorium room,
Yep.
and it's like shady as fuck. Give $20 to the person and you can go to the front of the line type of place. um Finally get in, dude. It's like nobody's paying attention to the stage at all. It's just a bunch of kids on drugs, and it's he finally comes on stage. He has his like backpack, he plugs in. Nobody recognizes him at all. He's playing on a fucking like Walmart Easy Up table that splits in half with all the cables exposed, nothing fancy. Plays like an hour set. Me and Peach at the time, we're front row, like staring at him raging, and he like makes eye contact a few times. He's like, "Oh, these fucking nerds, um, like these bass heads are actually here for me, and nobody else is." So like we go crazy for the whole hour, and it's a fucking auditorium. So he walks off side stage, and I like rush to him. I'm like, "Six up, bro!" Like blah blah blah, and he like does the whole handshake thing, says thanks, and like goes on his way. But like that fucking night is so weird in my head as a memory just because of how like
He's
they don't
giant.
even feel real. Like yeah, now he's Grammy award winning. Like you could never see him in that setting ever again.
No, that's it.
And it oddly felt cool when I was there, but did not feel special. It felt the opposite of that, which I guess in hindsight made it special. It's
Probably
kind of
almost
weird.
scary in a weird alley in Los
Oh,
Angeles.
super weird.
Like,
Don't know where I parked. Probably took some pill that we were told was something.
right,
Definitely wasn't.
right.
Yeah, good times. But hope we get a fucking Fred Again album this year because he clearly has a lot of music, and I would like him to drop a bunch of that at once.
That's a really fun story, man. Yeah. I hope we get a Fred Again album. I'm glad that I'm like fully off of the fence now because this song and subsequent Boiler Room set, which is the album cover for this single,
Oh, it's insane.
is
Yeah.
is special. So I recommend everybody listening to go check out that Fred Again set because it is, it's worth the hype. It's definitely worth the hype.
And if anybody else out there is sleeping on the fence, the trick to do it is put the pole in your mouth.
What?
You don't remember that from The Office?
No.
Dwight says he learned how to sleep on the
Oh
fence.
my god. Oh
Put the
no.
post in your mouth.
Jesus
So
Christ.
good. All right, let's move on, man. We got I'm gonna say Opio, a
Opio,
new one
yeah.
from Opio called Dopamine. What do you think of this?
This is a banger, bro. I really like their style. I hope to see them. They tour with a live band. I hope to see the band one day live. But this is really cool. I liked it. I threw it on because I've been a fan of Opio since I first heard their song. I think it's called Quack.
Sure. I
It's
don't think
a
I've heard that.
it's a good one. You should. It's a great track.
I'll check it out, man. I thought this song was fun. I don't know if I needed the explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old lyrics on it, but it's a banger. I'll give him that.
There you go.
All right, next up we got a new one from Paul Van Dyke and Raphael Osmo called Two Rivers. What'd you think of this?
Paul Van Dyke is one of those trance artists that is just like one of the best to do it, but he never got like famous for it, like Armin van Buuren and Above and Beyond, and people like Paul Van Dyke I don't think ever got like super famous, but man, this track is fucking great.
Yeah, he rarely transcends the like 8 p.m. set list spot, that's
Right,
kind of
and
his home.
and it's kind of a tragedy, bro. Like he put out Crush back in '98. That was it was like, whoa, man, this is like the definition of trance, and he's consistently been amazing. I
You
think he
don't get to
did.
pick when you peak, man.
I think he did play a late night set at a Coachella last decade.
No, he did. I remember he had like a full stage rig
Yeah,
for it.
he
He
had
was
like
like
the
last
whole.
on one night.
It was like a soccer ball that he sat in, sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly it. Half soccer ball.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it was cool.
Yeah, this is a good song. Sounds like classic PVD to me.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, man. Next up, we got another one from Rido you threw on here called Submarine. And last week I said bad techno because it was a little too heavy for me. And I think that was a little inaccurate because this track's fine, that track's fine. I think my gripe with this kind of techno is it's so much better live than to just listen to in like your headphones.
Definitely.
I don't get nearly the same amount of enjoyment out of this style of techno when I'm just at home or at work as I do when I'm in a club just hearing the bass reverberate off the walls to this.
I think that's kind of it. I think that's why like DJ Stingray doesn't have many production hits, but if you see DJ Stingray on a lineup, you go see him because your brain's gonna rattle a little bit. I really loved the Sonar sample in this song though because
Oh
it's
yeah.
just fucking cool, man. It's just really cool, man.
Tied the submarine theme together really
Yeah,
well.
let's do that. Like,
Yeah, more of that, please.
oh man.
All right, man. Next up, we got these two tracks from Rinzin you threw on here, Passive Aggressive Robot and The Dark Arts. I thought Passive Aggressive Robot was very Mayday adjacent in the way that it sounded, so I liked that.
All right.
And I thought The Dark Arts had a lot of interesting textures and really good drums. I like both of these. Really good tracks. What do you think?
I'm glad you liked them. I think we reviewed Rinzin's album last year. And
We did.
I think that
Yeah.
you might not have been as big a fan as I was, but I really enjoyed both of them. I'm a fan of his production style, so of course I would, though.
Yeah, some people are a small doses thing with me, but I
Super
enjoyed
fair.
both of these.
Super fair.
All right, next up we got another remix of On My Knees. This one is the Adriatic remix.
Okay,
and
okay.
This one's by Rufus to Soul. Is this every window is a mirror?
I know that we said that this track didn't need to be remixed when Cassian did it, but I listened to this track in my nice headphones when it came out on Friday, and I said, "Oh man, Adriatic killed this! Like I can't not talk about it with John. I know that it's the meme about the Joywave song or whatever, but fuck, this song bangs, man. This song is great."
It's a really good song. I do think it warranted a spot on the playlist, so I wasn't mad at you for that. It's not better than the original still, but it's a good song.
It's not, but I do want to pay attention to the kind of layering that Adriatic kind of does, like how it builds while adding like atmospheric layers to like by the end of these 7 minutes, I'm like, oh shit, like.
You're that guy with the messed up hair with the aliens
I
meme.
mean,
It's
I'm
just
I'm
you trying
full
to
I'm
explain
full
the
I'm,
Adriatic
I'm
remix.
full Vince McMahon by the end of this song, like.
I love that. All right, man. Next up, we got a What's So Not song. This one's called As One. We haven't talked about them in a few weeks. I thought this was good, man. The drums are nice and crisp. The vocal chops are a little rudimentary, but I really like the way the synths kind of wash over each other on this one. It's a solid song. What did you think?
I liked this. I also said my notes say that vocals are a little simple.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fine, but I think you have to do kind of more to impress at this point with those.
Yeah, I mean they've been around for so long. It's like, show me a little bit more. But I did enjoy the track, so I can't be mad at that.
Same. All right, next up we got these two new tracks from Royksop, Control and Let's Get It Right. These are going to be off of the Profound Mysteries 2 coming out August 19th. I thought that Control's a good club song, but it's not really an album-worthy track to me. And Let's Get It Right is interesting. Like the vocals and drums are good, but the lyrics aren't great, and it just kind of feels like a jam band track by the end of it. I'm not mad at either of these tracks, but neither of them feel entirely necessary. I'm still intrigued by Profound Mysteries 2, but at this point, I know that one is going to be the one I tend to gravitate towards more because I love that album. What did you think of these?
I feel what you're saying. I think Control is way more up my alley than Let's Get It Right is. But I do feel like the Profound Mysteries 2 will just kind of be a Profound Mysteries deluxe version, but like with more songs. So you know what I'm saying? Like these are all the songs that didn't really make it onto the album, but they kind of should have or not have. You know what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, I guess there's really no difference between 2 and deluxe to me. I'm kind of treating this as more of a deluxe, like you said, songs that didn't make it versus here's a whole other album of shit just as good. Because this all sounds a little disjointed to me, even though it's fine.
Well, we'll see how both of these tracks fit into the context of an album, which I'm kind of excited to listen to. So we'll see it because I really did like Profound Mysteries.
Yeah, I am very excited as well because spoiler alert, that's still in the top position for my EDM albums of the year.
I kind of had a feeling.
All right, man. Next up, the Brian Eno new track, There Were Bells. The legend Brian Eno is returned, man. What did you think of this?
You really thought I was going to go a few weeks without throwing some weird ambient shit on here?
I mean, I've heard him before, but yes, this to me, yes, this is technically ambient, but this is like poetry with a score more than music to me.
Thank you. Brian Eno's the king for a fucking reason, man. My local record store, I've got a record store right down the street, knows me as the Brian Eno guy because I always ask him if he got any weird shit in, and
of course
he never does, but he always looks for it for me, which is cool. I know it's not wild and crazy, it's not even super melodic, but I enjoyed it, and I always like Brian Eno's compositions, and I think of them more as compositions than productions. But
I do as well.
I really like this one, and you're right, it's definitely poetry with some production on the back end.
What if we got a Bodzin and Eno track?
Oh my god! Don't even tease me, bro.
Your head would just explode.
That would be made specifically for me. Like,
yeah, that's insane, man. I shouldn't have even put that out into the universe. It's too powerful.
Oh,
Thanos is going to track that down.
That's the time stone. It's Brian Eno and Stefan Bodzin producing together.
They're like in their little Doctor Strange layers doing their thing, man.
I can just imagine both of them in the multiverse just messing with some MIDI controllers, you know?
I'd love to see it. All right, man, let's move on. We got a new one here from Ginger Root called Holy Hell. This song is fantastic. I really don't care that all of his songs sound the same because they're all great. I desperately I need a video montage of me exploring Japan set to this song. Or preferably with you. That would be great too, Brandon.
As is tradition, we get another fucking amazing track from Gingerbread Man. I'm just a solid fan at this point, man. The saxophone on this one, ooh.
Oh, he's the man. Did you catch the music video for this, by the way?
I didn't. Maybe.
All right, throw that in the show. Did you ever end up going back and watching the first one where he like fills in for the pop star?
Yes, it's so good.
Oh my god. So this kind of continues that. He's doing like infomercials. It's really good, dude. He's on another fucking level, but his voice is insane, especially if you really give it time to where he gets to that like not higher register octave wise, but he puts a little more behind it. I think that we're just starting to see where he can go, but I love this, man. Can't wait for the new record.
Yeah, I think we caught Gingerbread a little early, and I think we're about to see him do some things.
I do too. I actually should look into vinyl because I feel like his vinyls are going to be worth something one day.
You know, I thought about that with the Marias, but all right.
If anybody has the Maria Cinema on vinyl for under $35, please contact Brandon.
Let's move on, bro.
All right, man. We got a new one from Rosalia called Despacita. I think that's how you say it. I'm probably butchering it. Absolute banger. Love this. Don't know if it's for Despecha. Sure, we'll say that. I don't know if this is for a deluxe edition of Moto Mommy or not, but I love it for what it is. What'd you think?
I really like this song. I've been practicing my Spanish, but I still can't really make out what she's saying. But man, I'm a fan, dude.
So what you're saying is we're going to karaoke some Spanish songs next time I'm in town.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I love me some Andrea Bocelli. So.
Oh, we're doing some Vicente Fernandez first. All right, man, let's move on. We got a new one from Nav called Never Sleep featuring Lil Baby and Travis Scott. I'm not a fan of any of the artists on this track, so it should come as no surprise that I'm not really a fan of the track. Did you have any different feelings?
All right, so I threw this on because it was making the rounds and it was clearly popular with a large majority of people who like rap. And turns out I like rap. Why are any of these people famous?
Yeah, I don't know. One guy is kind of famous for killing a bunch of people at his show or being responsible for that now. I guess that's a little unfair, but
the production on this track is pretty good.
Do you know who Nav is?
No, who's Nav?
He's on the Weeknd's label. He is not a very good rapper, in my opinion. I don't like any of his albums, but he's on the Weeknd's label, so you'll catch the occasional Weeknd feature on a track of his. But this is a forgettable Travis Scott track, forgettable Lil Baby track, and Nav is always pretty mid to me, so just a forgettable one all around.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Let's move on to this new one from Big Wild called OMG Garden. I think that's how you would say it.
OM Garden.
Oh My Garden. I thought it was pretty good, man. This one's catchy, lacks a little substance, but it's fine for like generic pop rock. What did you think?
Thumbs up. I really did like the bass line on this one.
Cool. All right, next up we got a new one from Kasabian called The Wall. I don't like this as much as the other singles, but it's not bad. Is this all we're getting, though?
What do you mean?
Oh, no, they have a new album announcement. Okay, I wasn't sure because this one was labeled as an EP on their page, if that's all we were getting.
No, I think Spotify's been fucking up lately. I think Spotify's been fucking up, and if it's more than 3 songs, then they just automatically categorize it as an EP. But we are getting an album from Kasabian, and like you said, I like this one less than the other 2 singles that we've got, but I'm pretty stoked for this album, man. It should be something that is normal, but also not, if that makes any sense.
We're actually getting that album this week.
Fuck yeah, we are.
All right, so I'll save the rest of my thoughts on that for then. That should be fun. Next up, we got a new one from Turnover and Brendan Yates called Myself in the Way. This is another fun one, man. What did you think of it?
I didn't like it.
No?
No, I didn't like it. It's weird that this is the same band that made Peripheral Vision.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I have like no preconceived notion in my head. I know who Turnover is, but I don't associate a specific song or album to them. I hear this and I'm like, all right, it's kind of Foles, Daft Punky.
It's fine. It's not. Do me a favor. Throw onto your listen to next Peripheral Vision from them. I think it was 2015, 2016. It's
15.
it's
Got it.
a it's a masterpiece. Like like it's fucking amazing. And
Dunzo.
this same band put this one out, and it just kind of threw me off a little bit. It's fine, but it's not amazing.
Dunzo. Added to my playlist.
Do it.
All right, next up we got another one from Battle Tapes and the Annex. This one's called If. Oh, this is the Annex
The
remix
remix.
of If Only. I see. Is If Only the song of theirs we covered?
I believe it is. I liked the remix, and I wanted to just throw it on so we could see a little bit more Battle Tapes, because I think it was last week or the week before, we covered Battle Tapes for the first time, and I was really a fan of them, and I kind of liked this remix, and just to kind of hear some weird music from a band that was already weird to me was kind of cool.
Yeah. Solid track, solid remix. Shout out
Sick.
Battle Tapes.
Let's go.
All right, man. Next up, we got a new one from Anti-Flag called Laugh, Cry, Smile, Die, featuring Shane Told of Silverstein, who we've been big fans of this year on the podcast. What'd you think of this?
I've said it before, and I will say it again. I really love, John, how collaborative the rock scene has been in the past few years. The hip hop scene and the rap scene have just been fully inundated with collaborations since forever. And I think rock really didn't want to take on any sort of collaborations like that unless they were live or like special editions, but like people are putting shit on their albums now, and I really love that Anti-Flag took Shane Told from Silverstein, because I love both of these bands. I mean, it's two, in my opinion, different worlds, but this is a solid Shane Told feature. The song is pretty good. Anti-Flag has softened up a bit since I was like really into them. But yeah, man, I liked the song, and I hope this leads to something into a larger project. I haven't really looked into that too much. I do regret not seeing Anti-Flag at a festival I was at. I think it was like 2015 or something like that, 2014 maybe. My feet hurt, and we left early, and they were closing some stage and whatever. But I do regret not seeing them.
Hey, man, I've been in that position as well. I don't.
It was
blame
a
you.
hard decision, bro.
I've been there, man. I know. When the back or feet hurt, especially if there's a lot of cement at the venue, that's just
Right.
it gets rough, especially the older you get. I would assume this is the start of something new. I have no confirmation on that. This seems like a lead single to me. I think it's a good track. Maybe a little repetitive, but it's a very good track. Shane sounds great, and it has that good Anti-Flag like sound to it. It's just not their best, I wouldn't say. I would be very
Agreed.
interested in a new album of theirs. What's funny though is how you say they're from two different worlds, but that's very true. But what's great about the scene is if you went to Warped Tour in like 2006, you would have seen them in the exact same day, like maybe on the same stage right after each other. It was a weird time in music.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of For Blood and Empire from 2006 rather, of Anti-Flag, which I guess is the same era, right? But
Yeah.
it's just kind of two different musical worlds to me. I put Anti-Flag more in that hardcore punk,
I do too.
where I put Silverstein more in that post-hardcore screamo sort of thing. So,
Samesies, bro. All right, man, let's move on to this new one from the Devil Wears Prada called Time. I thought this was good. It's a little generic. It's definitely best when it's at its heaviest, but I'm still very much looking forward to this record. What'd you think of it?
I think you said it perfectly. I think it's a great chorus, but it's so derivative of everything in metalcore ever. So this whole project, though, that we've been covering the rollout for should be pretty good.
I agree. It sounds like they're rejuvenated a bit, and I think they're like 3 or 4 singles deep, so I don't think we're getting their fastball anymore necessarily. But what do you think of capping singles for the playlist at 2 or 3 from now on?
I like that.
Yeah, I think we can obviously go on a case by case basis, but we've had some rollouts this year where we've heard 6 songs by a fucking artist before the album drops, and
Matt
I feel
Lane's
like
Dichotomy is a different story.
oh,
man.
dude, what's funny is I wasn't even talking about that. Like it's become so normal. His is going to the next level with that, man.
Right.
That was the extreme. But yeah, they're Odessa, they did like 6 singles before the album dropped, and good album. I wish I would have heard it more all at once versus slowly rolled out like that. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. Maybe we'll be a little more selective with somebody on their 4th or 5th single going forward.
We'll see.
All right. We are music nerds. It gets the best of us sometimes. All right. How do you say this next band's name?
Garia?
Garia. Okay, we'll say
Garia?
that. Garia?
Yeah, something like that.
Gaerea, if anybody wants to Google it. The song's called Mantle. This is a fun one, man. This is the exact Brandon song I expected when I see a band with this type of name. And this, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a 5-minute blast beat. I hit play. Lo and behold, it's a 5-minute blast beat.
My notes say, so this is heavy.
Yeah, very heavy. I like the aggression. Good stuff, Garia. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
All right, next up, we got another new one from Lorna Shore, your new favorite band. This one's called Cursed to Die. You're obsessed with these guys, man.
I'm going to disagree with you, man.
No, are you?
I am. The entire album will sound exactly like this, and the last 3 singles were. I was impressed when I heard something new, but like this, it's all the same. So they did just play Lollapalooza, so I got to give them some credit, right? A deathcore band playing Lollapalooza is fucking awesome. I'm kind of just getting tired of their sound, man. I think that I'm not going to add any more singles if they drop any singles for the album. And I mean, I kind of want to cover the album, but at this point I know it's going to sound all like this. And if it's this and the 3 singles plus the same song 1,000 times, then I'm probably just going to give it a 4. So,
well, guess what? I didn't like this song, but of all the singles, this is the one I enjoyed the most.
It is a good one, but it just kind of, you know how metal and metalcore will follow the intro, verse, chorus, breakdown, verse. You know what I'm saying? Like
the formula.
They have a different formula, which was new and unique to me when I first heard them, which is symphonic intro, black metal blast beats, verse, chorus, black metal blast beats, verse. It was just a little bit different from the formula that we're used to, but it just is it's just a different formula of the same thing. So yeah.
I was like, this is also a almost 5-minute blast beat.
Right.
Songs in a row. But yeah, it is what it is. Not bad. All right, man. Let's move on to some EPs. We have a few this week to break down. First up, we got Amber Lynn's new EP called Silver Line. I have not listened to them in over a decade, but they sound pretty much how I expected they would nowadays, man. Not much has changed. They still try a little bit of everything. They have like the riff heavy tracks like Two Graves that feel reminiscent of the Feel Good Drag or Godspeed. And they have the more alternative tracks like Body Language that's more reminiscent of like Unwinding Cable Car. I've always been a casual fan of theirs at best, so this one I probably won't be returning to, but I think it's a solid EP. How did you feel about it?
I was curious about your fan lineage of Amber Lynn, and I
like 2 songs.
I was at one point a decently sized fan. I guess I wasn't like this huge fan, but like I really did like them for a few months in my youth, which means that I listened to their first 2-3 albums like front to back like a lot. I even do come back to their old stuff every once in a while, but I liked this. I saw that they released a new EP, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to throw it on there. It's actually a bit heavier than I remember their old stuff being, but a couple of songs that I really did enjoy. I enjoyed Two Graves. I did enjoy Circles a lot. The mix on this is a little weird for me, man.
I agree.
The vocals just don't kind of mix well with the music.
It's very homogenous.
Yeah, it's that's kind of my only note, but I didn't hate this. I did enjoy it, so.
Yeah, it was a surprising addition, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I thought it would throw you for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by it, but it sounded pretty much how I expected it would.
Right. It's
all right,
Amber
man.
Lynn.
We got a surprise release from Zoo,
What
a
the hell?
musical chairs mixtape volume 1. This is kind of a weird release, man.
Surprise.
Yeah, very surprising. He did post about it, I think, like an hour or two before on Instagram, but I didn't see that until the next day, so
That
I
still
had no
constitutes a
idea.
surprise.
I agree. I agree. This album itself is a little weird, or I guess I should say EP. It's not quite as conceptual as his last few albums have been, but considering it's a mixtape, it makes kind of sense for the project to feel more like a collection of songs than a cohesive album. That said, I think there's some great moments on this EP, but I don't think any of these songs are even close to his best. I think I Wonder and The Job are clear standouts for me. He tries something interesting, but all the good work he does is pretty quickly undone by the time you get to Visa and Wet. Visa sounds like a fucking commercial, and Wet sounds like a mistake, dude. It's a decent EP. He just couldn't stick the landing on this one.
If he had
Also,
taken those two out, I think it would have been a better EP.
it would have been better, but it still would have been like a C. Like it's not
Yeah.
great. I went back and listened to it again like 2 hours ago, and I was like, he's he's just doing the Zoo thing. Like like this doesn't take a lot of effort from him. I've heard his best, and this just isn't it, man.
So if somebody else besides Zoo put this out, would you categorize it as pretty good?
I would categorize it as decent. I would categorize it kind of how I categorize Drove's music. Like it's good. It's really good, but
It's
I don't know.
lacking
Like if you do the
humanity.
same thing over and over and over again, yeah, it makes it a little more robotic, I suppose. And I loved his vocals when he started, but like sometimes, man, I get so annoyed with his fucking vocals.
I'm gonna
Like
agree
he
with you,
fell
man.
in too much love with his own voice, and he like I think when he does more R&B stuff, it works, or when he's doing like faded stuff where it's very necessary, it works so well. But there's a lot of tracks where it's like very too self-indulgent. Like he's just high on his own supply.
I think there's this air of confidence that doesn't leave any room for his insecurities that he used to have that kind of overpower the tonality of his vocals.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. That's exactly what I was
That
trying to say.
that that that's what I wrote down is that he has this confidence to him, and what you just said just kind of pushed me towards that kind of level of review. I will say Wet is bad. Visa is kind of threw me for a loop, and I Wonder is clearly the best track on this. But honestly, I'm cool with new Zoo music whenever we get it. So I don't think we're ever gonna get the Night Day or Generation Y or again.
No.
So like we'll take what we can get.
No. I agree, man. That's a fair takeaway. All right. You ready to move on to the albums?
I don't think the Beehive is though.
The Beehive is always ready for us, man. We pose no threat to them. All right, man. First up, we got Beyonce's new album, Renaissance. So this is confirmed to be act one of at least three. What the other acts are is kind of up for debate still. Some believe it's going to be a trilogy of albums, each with a different style. Some believe act two and three are going to be the visuals and tour for this album. We have no idea. We can only speculate. So we'll see how that folds out as the year plays out. We do know, though, that Act One is definitely a dance record because that's what we received.
It
And
sure
I
is.
think it is a very good dance record, but for a dance record, it is incredibly dense. So it's going to take a while to figure out fully how I feel about this record. It's one that I've maybe made it all the way through about 4 or 5 times now. And while I find new things that I like about it with each subsequent listen, it's a record that I've known how I felt about since the first time I played it. Um, here's pretty much my initial reactions though as I was going through it. It's incredibly well sequenced. All of the transitions are near seamless. She clearly did a lot of research for this project in terms of producers and how to make this vision come to life in the way that she wanted. She takes a lot of chances vocally and stylistically. It's empowering without being cheesy. And while I think Lemonade is a perfect album, it's kind of a cohesive story front to back. With the exception of Formation, I don't think that there's like the one hit song that you're always looking for on there. But I think you could say like a song like Virgo's Groove might be like one of her best songs in some time, even though I wouldn't consider this quite to be her best album yet. Um, I do love so much of what she did on this album, man. She enlisted fucking Hit Boy for Thick, and I think hearing them together just that really sets it off for me, man. I really think stuff like that is what makes this album special, and those are the tracks I keep going back to. However, there are some things like I don't love about the record. There is a lot of talking and rapping on this record. That's not to say she doesn't sing. She does a lot of insane runs on this album. They're very evident the more you listen to it. But I do think that the adjustment and less singing takes some getting used to, and I'm still getting used to that. My favorite producers on the album were the ones used the least, which isn't like a knock on the album. I wish that I got to hear a little bit more of them, like No ID and Hit Boy and so on and so on. The mid-song beat switches can be a little disorienting. You and I coming from EDM and listening to sets like Porter Robinson, who back in 2014 would change songs every 30 seconds, that doesn't really throw us off, but in the terms of finding your groove within a pop song, so much about finding your groove in dance music is about letting that happen over the course of 5, 6 minutes. And when you change what's going on about 2 to 3 minutes in, it kind of messes that groove up, even if it's all high quality. While she clearly did her homework on how to properly make a dance record without it feeling wildly inauthentic like Drake's, it would have been nice to see her enlist a few of the up and coming artists in the genre today, like Jada G, Peggy Go, maybe Channel Tress. I feel like they could have taken this thing from really good, in my opinion, to really great. Overall, though, man, I think I enjoyed this album. I think it's going to keep growing on me more with every listen. But in terms of mainstream dance pop records we've heard this year, for my personal taste, I think I rank it slightly under The Weeknd's, but both significantly ahead of Drake's. I gave this one an 8 out of 10 so far. My standouts are Virgo's Groove. I think my one sentence review of it is A for effort, A for execution, B for personal taste. And that's just kind of how it falls for me. How does this record fall for you, though, Brandon?
Man, I was waiting for that review all week. Thank you. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right. So I think both of us kind of went into this album pretty apprehensively since we got kind of a pretty lazy Show Me Love sample on Break My Soul. I got to say, though, I do think Break My Soul works a lot better in the context of the entire project.
Agree.
Because, like you said, those transitions between tracks are good. I was worried that she wasn't going to pay homage to the greats of house music. When I heard that this was going to be a dance record, I thought to myself, she's in the position, right, to pay homage to the greats, right? I mean, she could have had Juan Atkins come in. She could have had Jeff Mills come in and do some fucking symphony shit with her. But again, like I said, if you have the resources and you're going to be making a piece of art based on house music, you should absolutely include some of the pioneers of that scene. I would have loved to see some Jeff Mills, Frankie Knuckles, etc. on this album. But I'm happy that she did choose Honey Dijon and Nile Rodgers to produce the majority of the album because they both had a pretty large role in the late 70s, early 80s of the dance music scene in Chicago, which to me does her duty of paying homage, but kind of like the rest of the genre in here, while it's fine, was it enough? But that's a whole other concept.
Sure.
There's a Skrillex production credit on this track, which on this
Energy.
album, on Energy, which is when I looked into the production credits on this track on this album, I was like, wait a second. There's no Jeff Mills, but you got Sonny Moore from First to Last on here. It threw me off a little bit, but Energy's a good song. Overall, I really enjoyed this album. I thought it was a good project. She went out of her comfort zone a little bit and made an album that's really kind of unlike anything else she's ever made. Her voice obviously sounds fucking great, as is tradition. It's a great pop record, and there's a few bangers. I really enjoyed Alien Superstar, Cuff It, Energy. There's a few album cuts like Cozy, Plastic Off the Sofa. I think America Has a Problem is a great song, but it's still kind of one of those album cuts. There's a few skips, but I really did like I really did like a number of the tracks on here, and I think that there's some really good ones, man. Like Virgo's Groove is really good.
Yeah, that's a fucking A+ song. That should have been the lead single,
man.
In my opinion.
It's a good one, man. I agree. I think that it was funny. I was having a conversation with a couple of people at work, and somebody walked in while I was listening to Break My Soul, and after this album came out, and they were like, "Oh, this is my jam right now," and I was like, "Oh, you like Robin S?"
You're such an EDM nerd. You have
I'm sorry,
you're
man.
Ken Mosbean. Well, actually,
I'm a super EDM nerd, man.
How dare she not find Jeff Mills wherever he is?
Hey, man, The Bells is a fucking classic, and if all I do in this world is teach more people about Jeff Mills, then my job is done. Do I think that this is a revolutionary pop house epic? No way, man. But I do think that it's a good project. And like you said, it's under the Weeknd's Dawn FM, and it's like leaps and bounds over Drake's Honestly Nevermind, which I've seen a couple of good puns online. Somebody was talking about Honestly Nevermind was actually a decent album, and somebody will reply like, yeah, man, Nirvana's album Nevermind is a good one. But look, man, it's a good project. I think it's always a good day when we get more Beyonce. I think it's a bit long at over an hour, which I love, and I'm happy for that, because a lot of artists right now are doing like, well, let's just put like a 38-minute album out there so people can retain their attention. But I think that people underestimate people's attention spans nowadays. I will be revisiting this album throughout the year, and my score might change, but for now, it's sitting at a 7 out of 10, and I have a weird standout.
What is it?
Pure/Honey.
Oh, that's not weird at all, man.
I like it.
That's a banger.
I think it's an album cut though, right? Because we didn't.
Oh, it's for sure an album cut.
But it's not
going to be a single.
I know it definitely wouldn't have been a single, but I really enjoy it, and I think it's because I heard a little bit of Jackmaster in that beat. You know what I'm saying?
You want to know what's very interesting? She
do.
actually submitted Summer Renaissance to be a single today for radio, which I was not expecting of all the songs. I thought Cuff It would be the next single based on
that's interesting
length and just kind of one beat.
It's a banger. Cuff It's a banger, bro.
Yeah, Cuff It is. I was not expecting Summer Renaissance. It's a really good song. So she's clearly just playing by her own rules, as she very clearly can at this stage.
Which is
career.
great.
Props
man.
to her.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that your criticism is valid. I like, yeah, maybe trim it down to 50 minutes and it's like a perfect album. But yeah, it runs a little long. I think that's fair.
We'll see how my score changes throughout the year. I think we'll be talking about it as a pop record at the end of our podcast year rather than a dance record, like a lot of people are going to be talking about it. I can almost see the top electronic dance records on Pitchfork right now with Beyonce at the top. But because I think they gave it a 9.
I think it'll finish around an 8 or 9. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable at a 7 right now, and I listened to a couple of them today. I think Alien Superstar is a fucking awesome track, man, and we'll see where it goes. I enjoyed listening to it, but I do think that there was more music on our playlist this week that I enjoyed a little more.
Interesting. Well, let's move on and let's see what that might be. Next up, we have Maggie Rogers' new album, Surrender. What did you think of this? Is this the one you might have enjoyed a little more?
I am so thankful that you showed me Maggie Rogers, because I had seen her name 1,000 times and I had always avoided it because, as you know, I kind of avoid hype basically at every corner that I can. I'm a big fan of her and this album. I
You
think she
love
has
Supreme box tees, though, don't you?
I like a lot of things. She has a great voice, man. It kind of bothers me that you like shit like Maggie Rogers and you don't like Phoebe Bridgers, but I guess that all of this is subjective and really.
Do you want me to answer that right now?
Matters. Yeah, do it.
I think the singles are not reflective of Phoebe Bridgers at all. But you're right. This album is Phoebe Bridgers with a drum machine.
Okay.
1000%.
There we go.
I will concede that. And I didn't hate it. So I guess you have a point there. Anyways, continue on.
Well, this is a solid album with a ton of great qualities. I think the structure of the album is great as far as song placement. I think it keeps me really engaged. A lot of the songs are catchy as hell and this could have been released in the late 90s and everybody would have fucking loved it. She could have toured in support of Alanis Morissette and people would have ate that shit up. There's obviously some elements of modern pop that come through and like mainly the choruses as far as structures. But I think she has an amazing voice. Have I said that yet? She really does. And she really doesn't hesitate to use it. And you hear a lot of her range on this record. I think I'll be coming to this back to this album for a while. It's just quality music. So thank you for finally making me listen to her. I gave it an 8. My standout is Shatter.
Dude, fuck yeah, man. I mean, very few things bring me more joy than showing you an artist that turns out to be one you really, really like. So I'm happy that turned out to be the case with this one. Nice. In terms of my thoughts on this album, man, I think what I like about it is just the way she's able to combine so many elements of alt pop, indie, folk, and grunge in this unique way. Like, it's avant-garde and it's grandiose, but it's also very grounded. And on this album in particular, she clearly put her heart and soul into these lyrics. They're very raw, very honest, and extremely direct at times. If you couldn't tell from the lyrics themselves, you can tell by the way she sings them, because every inflection on this album has purpose. Her voice is always at the center of what's going on. And while the production is impressive throughout this album, it's her voice soaring over the instrumentals that makes it what it is. It does all start to sound the same after a while, but it never stops being impressive. So I think overall my takeaway is it's a very solid album, even if the more indie folk aspects of it aren't to my taste very much. I give it a 7 out of 10, and that's where I am as my standout. I think she nailed it with the singles on this.
Nice. I agree, and I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, man. She's a good one. Did you ever go check out her first album?
I haven't had a chance to. It's on my listen to next, though. But
okay.
I Wednesdays and Thursdays are my listen to next days. So
yes. Well, I think you'll enjoy that if you enjoyed this when you get around to it. It's a little different, but all the good shit about it's still there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
man.
agree.
I'm excited to talk to you about this next one.
Are
you threw
you?
on this album from Anxious called Little Green House. I've never fucking heard of this band before. So yeah, I was pretty happy, man. This album's a lot of fun. It fucking moves between pop punk and emo and post-hardcore with ease. It's an album you can sing along to as much as you can mosh to. It's melodic, anthemic, catchy, has a lot of heart. It's honestly just a very impressive debut on every level. I added it to my rotation and I hit the little follow button on their page. I give this one a 7 out of 10. I think Your One Way Street and Call From You are the best songs, but Speechless is my favorite song, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So talk to me about this. Where'd you find this?
So I don't know. It was on. I had no idea where I found this. I've had this on my In Case of Slow Week Break Glass playlist that I decided to take private so you wouldn't fucking snoop for a while now. I think this album released in January as their debut album, like you said. I fucking love this, bro. I had listened to it like once or twice before throwing it on the playlist for this week, but as I was gearing up to write my thoughts down, I just couldn't stop fucking listening to it, man. It's been a daily listen for me this week for sure. What I really love about it, dude, is that you can hear all of their influences come through. You could tell me this band was touring with Taking Back Sunday in 2005 and I'd fucking believe you. Like, there are just straight bangers all the way through. And it kind of just like bobs and weaves through the genres, like you said. I mean, you can hear the Census Fail influence, the Taking Back Sunday influence, the My Camera influence. You can hear the Blink influence on a couple of tracks. And God, man, there's major pop punk, major emo, major post-hardcore elements. God, they do them all so well, man. I was dying to hear your thoughts, so I'm glad you just kind of took the lead on this. I think this band should probably be famous already, but I have no doubt they're going to get there. This is a solid debut album, and I can't wait to hear more from them, and I hope we get more from them soon. I'm a big fan of this album and apparently this band, so I gave this an 8. Your One Way Street is my standout.
Great song. Shout out Anxious. Great debut. Love it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Let's cap this week off with this new Kardashev album, Liminal Right. Is this another one that you had on the In Case of Slow Week Break Glass playlist?
You fucking know it was, man. We had a slow week this week, and I was like, dump. Like let's go, man.
So what are your thoughts on this one?
All right, man. This is an album I've been holding since it released in June. I didn't have them on my radar, but somebody posted them to Reddit, and I clicked on it, and I was just like, "Oh, this is fucking neat." And we finally had a slow enough week for me to throw it on, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that they don't call this death metal. They don't call this deathcore. They don't call this black metal. You're gonna hate this, John, but they call this death gaze because it's shoegaze death metal. But it really does kind of fit the mold here, regardless of what the band themselves call it. I fucking love this. The drumming is insane. There is a couple of songs where the blast beats are very impressive, but they go on for about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's like, dude, relax. Like, we get it. You can blast beat for a long time, but like that's not all of it. But there's only a couple of tracks where they do that. I really liked this album, man. I think the vocals fit extremely well together on this entire project. There's so many layers. There's lots of heavy fucking riffs. There's a lot of atmospheric elements and kind of just like ethereal moments where you're just kind of drifting in space, and then all of a sudden the crushing fucking drums come in. And yeah, man, the album structure is perfect where you get that vocal intro, and then you get kind of like a vocal interlude towards the middle, and then it just crushes you again. I think it's groovy. I think it's heavy. I think it's dreamy, and I really fucking liked it. I gave it an 8. My standout was Sellers of Ghosts. John, I am dying to hear what you thought of this one.
So I don't have a ton of notes on this one, man. I have written down here that they're a decent prog metal band, but I'm going to change my notes. You can listen to me type this. They're a decent death gaze band.
I also call them prog metal, but I was looking for merch, and they sell death gaze hats, which I might buy.
God.
So
it's a cool name. I don't hear the shoegaze at all. I honestly don't.
All right.
But I don't know, man. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I think that their sound is just a little too chaotic and muddy for my personal taste. I actually liked the more ambient aspects of their music. I guess if that's the shoegaze part, then that is what I liked about it. But as a whole, I wasn't really feeling this album. The songs that I did kind of like, though, Apparitions in Candlelight and Lavender Calligraphy.
Oh,
I thought
Lavender
both of those
Calligraphy
were
is
pretty.
great.
Yeah, that was easily my standout. But overall, I give this one a 4 out of 10, mostly based on personal taste, not based on execution.
Yeah, I think they did it really well, and I kind of knew that you were going to hate it. Well, not hate it, but like not enjoy it as much as I was. I have been. I don't know if you've been watching my I'm not on any private sessions on Spotify, so I'm sure you see me. I'm not sure if you've been watching the last 3 days, but it's basically just been Anxious and Kardashev for the last 3 days. So
I have not.
Today I took
a
break. Today I took a break a little bit, but I really liked this album, and I just needed to show it to you. So.
Hey man, you showed me 2 new albums. I really enjoyed one of them. That ain't bad. You're shooting
that's
50%.
Not bad at all.
All right, man. You want to know what we're going to be reviewing next week?
Hell yeah, let me know.
All right, so we got new albums from Calvin Harris, Healing Potpourri, The Interrupters, and Kasabian. I'm sure there's going to be some other stuff in there as well. What of those 4 are you looking forward to the most?
Probably The Interrupters, followed closely by Kasabian.
Fuck yeah, man. I think that's about where I'm at too. The Calvin Harris one, in terms of big names, I'm interested in it, but I think I know exactly what it's gonna sound.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I would say I was looking forward to Healing Potpourri, but I think that would be like the defeating the purpose for their band.
Yes,
You just kind of
I
want to
think
like
so.
vibe and like
Yeah.
groove and be on a beach. So we'll see. I'm
Well,
excited for it.
come vibe with us next Wednesday night when we review the new Healing Potpourri album Paradise, as
Yeah,
well as
man.
these others. Please like, follow, subscribe. Music by Anthony Reeder. This was a fun one, man. I'm looking forward to doing it again with you next week.
Every week I'm looking forward to it. Later, John.
Peace.
Peace.